Picture this scenario. It is 2 in the afternoon on a Saturday, and you are standing in the center of a crowded shopping mall. The fluorescent lights overhead are buzzing with a frequency that feels like it is physically scratching against the back of your tired eyes. People are brushing past you from every direction, a chaotic stream of strangers who seem completely unaware of your physical existence in space. You can hear a baby crying 3 stores away, the squeak of sneakers on polished tile, and 1,000 overlapping conversations all at once. While everyone else seems to be laughing, shopping, and functioning normally, you feel your chest tightening and your energy draining rapidly like a battery. You look around at the happy faces and wonder why you feel like a glitching computer program that is desperately trying to reboot itself. This is the moment where you usually ask yourself the question that has haunted you for years. What is actually wrong with me? But here is the scientific reality that nobody ever explained to you. Absolutely nothing is broken, and you are functioning exactly as designed. You are not antisocial, you are not weird, and you are definitely not weak just because you cannot tolerate the chaos of crowds. Your brain is simply processing the reality around you on a completely different frequency than the other 90% of the population is. Neuroscientists have a specific term for what is happening inside your brain during these moments of intense, overwhelming sensory saturation and exhaustion. Imagine that the average human nervous system works like a standard computer with a very efficient spam filter installed for sensory input. When an average person walks into a crowd, their brain automatically ignores the background noise, the smells, and the changes in lighting intensity. But your nervous system is built like a supercomputer that is running every single program at maximum capacity without any filters turned off. You are recording everything in high-definition resolution, absorbing every micro-expression, every shift in tone, and every movement in your peripheral vision. It is like trying to drink water from a high-pressure fire hose while everyone else around you is casually sipping from a straw. Research indicates that people with high sensory processing sensitivity absorb information 30% deeper than the average person does in the same environment. This means that by the time you have spent 20 minutes at a party, your brain has done the work of 8 hours. The exhaustion you feel is not a character flaw. It is the physical cost of processing the world with such incredible granular detail. But if we look back at human history, this trait was not an inconvenience. It was actually a vital survival mechanism for our species. While the rest of the tribe was distracted by the fire, people like you were the ones noticing the subtle snap of a twig. Your inability to filter out, quote, background noise meant you were the first to sense a predator approaching or a change in the weather. Evolution kept this trait in the gene pool because humanity needed people who could not simply ignore the subtle details of their environment. So when you feel overwhelmed by the modern world, remember that your sensitivity is an ancient survival software running in a modern digital age. But there is another layer to this exhaustion, and it has nothing to do with noise and everything to do with human authenticity. You have likely noticed that you are not just drained by the volume of people, but specifically by the performance of social interaction. There is a specific type of fatigue that hits you when you are forced to participate in polite, surface-level conversations for too long. You can physically feel the energy leaving your body when someone asks, "How are you?" and you have to lie and say, "Good." This is what psychologists call social masking fatigue, and it hits people with your personality type harder than anyone else in the room. Your brain is wired to crave depth and truth, which makes the artificial nature of most social gatherings feel incredibly abrasive to your spirit. You notice the forced smiles, the tension in someone's jaw, and the slight disconnect between what people say and what they actually mean. Being in a crowd often feels lonely because you are surrounded by people who are all performing a role rather than being themselves. It is not that you hate people. It is that you have a very low tolerance for the performance of pretending to be okay. You would happily sit in a quiet room and talk to one person about their deepest fears and dreams until 3 in the morning. But 5 minutes of discussing the weather or making polite small talk with strangers feels like chewing on dry cardboard for your brain. Studies from Oxford University have suggested that people who struggle with crowds often possess higher than average emotional intelligence and social awareness scores. You are not socially awkward. You are socially selective, because you understand the high energy cost of investing in interactions that lack substance. This selectivity is actually a form of wisdom, ensuring that when you do connect, it is meaningful, authentic, and worth the energy expenditure. Solitude, for you, is not an act of hiding from the world. It is the only time you can drop the heavy mass. Now, let's look at the actual chemistry, because the difference between you and an extrovert is literally written in your neurotransmitter receptors. Science has discovered that the brains of people who prefer quiet environments process dopamine differently than those who thrive in loud, busy places. For an extrovert, walking into a loud party triggers a rush of dopamine that makes them feel energized, excited, and ready to engage. But for you, that same level of stimulation pushes your dopamine system past its limit, causing you to feel overstimulated and physically anxious. It is as if your brain is screaming, "System overload, abort mission," while the extrovert's brain is shouting, "More input, this is great." However, your brain has a secret weapon, a different pathway that relies on a completely different neurotransmitter called acetylcholine to make you happy. Acetylcholine is the chemical that is released during deep focus, internal reflection, reading, and moments of calm, quiet safety in your own space. While the world chases the quick hit of dopamine, your brain is designed to thrive on the slow burn satisfaction of deep, complex thinking. This is why you feel a profound sense of relief and pleasure when you finally close your door and sit in the silence. You are not boring for staying home. You are simply refueling your system with the specific chemical fuel that your unique brain requires. Neuroscientists at Harvard have found that introverted brains often have thicker gray matter in the prefrontal cortex, the area for abstract thought. This means that when you are sitting alone doing nothing, your brain is actually engaged in complex problem solving and deep memory processing activities. You are not wasting time in solitude. You are entering your natural incubation period, where your best ideas and insights are finally born. There is a reason why many of history's greatest writers, artists, and thinkers were known for avoiding crowds and seeking long periods of isolation. They understood instinctively that their genius required a quiet environment to manifest, away from the constant noise and distraction of the social world. But there is another reason crowds are difficult for you, and it is perhaps the most challenging aspect of your personality to manage. You are likely an emotional sponge, absorbing the moods and energies of the people around you, whether you want to or not. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately known that two people were fighting, even though they were sitting there smiling silently? Your mirror neurons are firing at a higher rate, allowing you to physically feel the tension, sadness, or anxiety of others nearby. In a crowded place, this means you are not just dealing with your own emotions, you are carrying the emotional weight of strangers. It is like trying to tune a radio that is picking up 100 different stations at once, creating a chaotic wall of static. This hyper-empathy is a beautiful gift in one-on-one situations, allowing you to be an incredible friend, partner, and listener to those you love. But in a crowd, it becomes a liability, leaving you feeling drained, irritable, and desperate to escape to a place where the air is clear. You often leave social events feeling heavy or sad, without knowing why, simply because you picked up on someone else's unspoken emotional baggage. This is why your need to leave early is not about being rude. It is a necessary act of energetic hygiene and self-preservation. You need time alone to wring out the sponge, to separate your own feelings from the emotions you absorbed from the people around you. Society tries to tell us that the ideal person is always available, always smiling, and always ready to be in the center of the action. We live in a culture that glorifies the hustle, the open plan office, and the constant networking events that define modern success and status. If you are not constantly busy and surrounded by people, the world tries to convince you that you are somehow failing at life. But there is a quiet rebellion happening, a realization that protecting your peace is more important than performing for an audience that doesn't care. Choosing to stay in on a Friday night is not an act of giving up. It is an act of taking your power back. You are realizing that the fear of missing out is a lie designed to keep you running on a hamster wheel of exhaustion. When you embrace your nature, you realize that you are not missing out on anything out there. You are tuning in to yourself. The silence of your empty apartment is not a void to be filled. It is a rich, fertile soil where you can grow. It is in these quiet moments that you reconnect with who you actually are, stripped of the expectations and demands of the outside world. You begin to see that your sensitivity is not a hurdle to overcome, but a lens through which you see the world's beauty. While others rush past the details, you are the one who notices the way the light hits the trees during the golden hour. You are the one who hears the lyrics in the music, who feels the texture of the moment, who finds wonder in the small things. This depth of experience is the trade-off for the exhaustion. You pay a higher price for reality, but you get a richer product. Navigating the modern workplace can be particularly challenging when you are wired this way, especially in environments that prize noise over actual productivity. Open office plans are essentially kryptonite for people like you, destroying your focus and draining your acetylcholine reserves before lunch even rolls around. You might find yourself needing to put on headphones just to create a small bubble of control in an environment of constant, chaotic input. But notice how you are often the one who comes up with the solution after everyone else has finished shouting their opinions in the meeting. Your brain works in the background, connecting dots that others miss because they are too busy talking to stop and actually think. In a world that cannot stop speaking, there is immense power in being the person who is comfortable enough to sit and listen. You do not need to be the loudest voice in the room to be the most influential. You just need to be the clearest. So the next time someone asks you, "Why are you so quiet?" you do not need to scramble for an excuse or an apology. You can simply smile, knowing that you are observing a layer of reality that they are completely missing in their rush to speak. You are listening to the world in a way they cannot, processing nuance and emotion that flies right over their heads without them noticing. There is a certain dignity in being the observer, the keeper of the quiet, the one who anchors the energy in the room. You are the calm eye in the center of the storm, providing a sense of stability when the world feels like it is spinning out of control. It is time to stop apologizing for your boundaries and start viewing them as the necessary walls that protect your valuable internal garden. Your energy is a limited resource, like currency, and you have every right to be stingy with how you choose to spend it. If a situation costs you your peace of mind, it is too expensive, regardless of how, quote, fun society tells you it should be. You are learning to navigate a world that was not built for you. And that requires a tremendous amount of courage and self-awareness every day. But look at how you have adapted, finding your pockets of silence in the noise, carving out a life that honors your needs. You have learned to say no without guilt, understanding that a no to the world is often a yes to your own mental health. You are finding the balance between connection and solitude, learning when to push yourself and when to retreat and recover your strength. This is not a weakness to be fixed. It is a temperament to be mastered, understood, and eventually celebrated as a unique strength. Imagine what the world would look like if everyone had your capacity for reflection, your empathy, and your ability to sit with discomfort. It would likely be a kinder, deeper, and much more thoughtful place than the chaotic, noisy reality we currently find ourselves living in. You bring a necessary counterbalance to the speed and superficiality of modern life, acting as a brake on a runaway train of constant stimulation. So, if you feel like an outsider, know that the view from the outside is often much clearer than the view from the crowd. You are not broken. You are simply built for a different purpose, one that requires depth, patience, and a high degree of sensitivity. The next time you feel that familiar tightness in your chest in a busy place, listen to it, honor it, and remove yourself. Go find your quiet corner, your empty room, your nature trail, and let your nervous system reset to its natural, peaceful baseline state. Breathe in the silence, and remember that this is where your power lives, in the spaces between the noise, where you can finally hear yourself. You have spent enough time thinking there was something wrong with you for not enjoying the party that everyone else seems to love. It is time to realize that you were never meant to enjoy the party. You were meant to observe it, understand it, and transcend it. Your tribe is out there, fellow quiet souls who are also standing in the corner at parties, wishing they were at home reading. We might be hard to find because we are all at home, but we are connected by this shared understanding of the world. Your sensitivity is not a burden you have to carry. It is a lantern you hold that illuminates the things others are too busy to see. In a world that is constantly screaming for attention, your silence is a radical act of defiance and a declaration of self-worth. You see things deeply, you feel things intensely, and you love with a profound sincerity that is rare in this fast-paced digital age. Do not let anyone convince you to lower your resolution or turn down your sensitivity just to make them feel more comfortable with their shallowness. Stay deep, stay observant, and keep protecting that beautiful, complex supercomputer of a brain that allows you to experience life so fully. The world does not need more noise. It needs more people who are brave enough to be quiet and listen to the truth. You are exactly sensitive enough, exactly introverted enough, and exactly who you are supposed to be in this moment of your life. So I have to ask, are you someone who immediately looks for the exit in a crowded room? Or do you thrive in the chaos? Drop a comment below and share your experience. I want to see how many of us are choosing peace over noise in today's world. If this message resonated with your spirit, make sure to hit subscribe because we go deeper into these psychological patterns every single day. And smash that like button so more people who feel like outsiders can find this video and realize They have found their tribe. Remember, you are not alone in your need for solitude. You're just part of a silent majority that is finally waking up.